Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing how to add and subtract fractions and decimals. Now this is a very important part of the STAR test, so I really need you all to pay attention and make sure you follow along carefully and write down everything that I'm writing. So let's get started with number 1. While fishing, Travis caught a bass that weighed 9 1/4 pounds and a trout that weighed 9.6 pounds. What is the combined weight? So combined means we're going to be adding of the two fish. Okay, so y'all should already know that we have 1/4, which is the same thing as 0.25. Okay, so 1/4 is the same thing as 0.25. Just think of $1. If I cut up $1 into 4 pieces, that's 25 cents for each piece, okay? So instead of writing 9 1/4, I'm going to write 9.25, okay? And then we're going to combine that, or we're going to add 9.6, okay? So we're going to add, we have 5, 8, bring down the decimal, and this is 18. So the correct answer is B. All right, number 2. The snowfall between midnight and 6 a.m. was 3 3/4 feet. The snowfall between 6 a.m. and noon was 3 1/3. How many more? Okay, guys, this is actually a really important thing that you need to know. When it says how many more, this always means subtraction all the time, no matter what. So how many more? That means subtraction. We're going to be subtracting. So we subtract with the greatest number first. So 3 3/4 is greater, so that means I'm going to put that first. And then we're going to subtract 2 1/3. So we have to find common denominator. These are not the same. So I'm going to use the skip counting method to find my common denominator. So I'm going to skip count by 3s. I'm going to skip count by 4s until I find a denominator that is the same. And there it is. So I have 9/12 and 4/12. See how my denominators are the same. Okay, so I'm going to subtract my whole number first. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then we only subtract the numerators, okay? These are the numbers at the top. So 9 minus 4 is 5, and then my denominator stays the same, which is still 12. So the correct answer is G. For number 3, Tanya watched videos for 2/3 of an hour, played checkers for 3/4 of an hour, and practiced soccer for 1 1/6 of an hour. How many hours did Tanya spend on all 3 of the activities? So I have to add all 3 of these fractions. So I'm going to split it up into 2 sections, and I'm going to add these 2 fractions first. Okay. So 2/3 plus 3/4. So again, I need to find common denominator, okay? And I'm going to skip count until I find common denominator. So skip count by 2, skip count by 3s. That's 4 6, 6 9, 8 12s, 6 8s, 9 12s. So there it is. We have 12s again. So we're going to be adding 8 12s plus 9 12s is 17 12s. Okay? All right, now we have to add 1 1/6 to that. Now again, we don't have common denominator, so I'm going to have to skip count by 6, 1 and 6. So I'm going to use this one now. All right, so 17 plus 2 is 19, so 19 over 12. Now, this is a very important fraction. I have 19 over 12. That means it's an improper fraction, okay? This is an improper fraction. So I have a whole number in there that I need to take out, and in order to do that, I have to divide. 19 divided by 12. So 12 goes into 19 one time, and we're going to subtract. 19 minus 12 is 7. So this is the same thing as 1 and 7/12. Plus, we still have to add the 1 whole that was here. So my final answer is 2 wholes, because 1 plus 1 is 2. And now we have 7/12 left over. So the correct answer is C. Okay. Moving on to number 4. Farmer Brown has 75 acres of farm. He planted 5 7/8 acres in corn and 4 2/3 acres in wheat. He used the rest of it as grazing land. How many more acres did farmer plant in corn than wheat? So again, this says how many more, okay? Very similar to this one, how many more, okay? That means subtraction. So I'm going to subtract. Remember, the biggest number goes first. So 5 7/8 minus 4 2/3. Again, we must find common denominator. Now, another way of finding common denominator is by multiplying the denominators. These are the denominators. So this is a 3, so I'm going to multiply this by 3, multiply this by 3. This is an 8, so I'm going to multiply this by 8, multiply this by 8. This is just another way of finding common denominator. So 7 times 3 is 21, 8 times 3 is 24. 2 times 8 is 16, and 3 times 8 is 24. So 24 is my common denominator. All right, so now I can subtract the whole numbers. 5 minus 4 is 1. And remember, we only subtract the numerators. 21 minus 16 is 5, and we keep the denominator the same. So the correct answer is F. Okay, number 5. A honeybee is 0.4 inches long. A bumblebee is 0.75 inches long. Again, how much longer? Okay, that is subtraction. How much longer? Over here, it said how many more? How many more? Okay, all of those are subtraction. So we're going to subtract 0.75. That's the greater number. Minus 0.4, and then we have to add a 0 for this place value. So 5 minus 0 is 5, 7 minus 4 is 3, and you bring your decimal down. So the correct answer is D. Okay? Don't forget to line up your place values. When you add and subtract decimals, you must line up your place value, just like we did on number 1. Okay, last problem. Nandri rode her bike 7/10 of a mile from her house to her Aunt Kay's house. On the way home, Nandri's bike had a flat tire 1/4 of the mile from the aunt's house. How much farther? So do we need to walk home? Okay, so again, we have to subtract. So 7/10 minus 1/4. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to be multiplying by 2 because I know that my common denominator is going to be 20. And over here I have to multiply by 5 to get to 20. So I'm going to have 14 over 20 and 5 over 20. Okay, and now I can subtract because I have common denominator. 14 minus 5 is 9, and then keep the denominator the same. So F is your answer. And we're done.